study by the National Institute on Drug Abuse says that youth treatment rates for marijuana tripled between 1992 and 2002, and that young people with a grade average of D or below are 4 times more likely to use marijuana than those who get A's. Nevertheless, there's a growing legalization of pot push, and now there's a book about pot for kids called It's Just a Plant. Its author, Ricardo Cortez, joins us now. I have a kid's book, as you know, Reilly Factor for Kids, and in my book I say that intoxication is not good for children, period. Do you subscribe to that?
First and foremost, this book is not to promote marijuana use for kids.
Right. But do you subscribe to the fact, or the opinion, I should say, my opinion, that intoxication for children is bad across the board?
I think we'd agree on that.
All right. So you don't think that getting high is good for children?
No, I don't think so at all.
All right. Then why did you write this book?
I wrote this book because I think that there's a new type of education that needs to be brought to kids, because a lot of the information out there that is currently being given to them about marijuana is based on some ancient type of reefer madness type scare tactic intimidation that I don't think really holds true to the reality.
That's a fair point. Scaring kids doesn't always work. Just say no doesn't always work. But your book is sympathetic to marijuana. You know that, Mr. Cortez. You don't mention it's illegal until halfway through the book.
Sure.
And it's a sympathetic look at pot. So why do you want to do that?
Well, this is about a sympathetic look for adult responsible use of drugs, of marijuana in particular.
But this book's not an adult book. This is a kid's book.
Well, in your book you talked about sex, talking to children, and you're not promoting sexual activity.
No, I don't mind you talking to kids about pot, but I don't know if I want a sympathetic look at pot for kids.
Well, back to when I was a child, my mom talked about sex, and the way she said it to me, said, you know, it's something that can be very beautiful for adults, responsible adults, and it's not for children. And by being open about that, I think it was the best type of education. For example, back in your book, you talked about 9 out of 10 teens said that if they were given open and honest dialogue about sexual activity, it would probably let them postpone their own sexual activity.
I'm all for telling children what the score is, but I don't know if a sympathetic book to marijuana does them any good. Let me read a passage, and then the folks can get an idea of what you have in your book, and then you can respond to the passage. 8-year-old Jackie visits a pot farmer with her mother and asks the farmer what he does with the plant. Quote, "People eat them and smoke them. Can you believe it? Some people say marijuana makes them feel happy. Others say it's dreamy. Actually, the flower has different effects on different people who try it. Artists, doctors, teachers, writers, scientists, even presidents." Wow, said Jackie after they left. "I'm going to plant some marijuana at home."
Exactly.
Come on!
Now hold a second. The second that happens, the mother says, well, we're going to have to talk about that, because it's not...
We're going to have to talk about it?
Are you against talking about education?
Well, wait a minute, no. Jackie wants to plant pot at home.
And that's right, and the mom has to say that's something we can't do. And let's get into that. Now they go to a doctor, they talk about why it's not for children, but there are adults that need it for medical use.
But why the butt? Why are you giving the kids the butt?
Well, because there are over 6 million parents out there that are smoking marijuana. There are over 80
and
million...
it's child abuse if they smoke it in front of their kids.
Well, we're not talking about putting marijuana in front of anyone's face, but we're acknowledging that it's something that people do. And it's something, alcohol is something that people do as well.
But they should say, all responsible adults should say to children, it's not a good thing. Some adults do it.
Not good for children, but some adults...
intoxication is not good for anybody,
Have you ever had a glass of wine?
No, I don't drink.
You don't drink?
I do not. I mean, I've tasted wine, but I don't drink. Look, I'm the wrong guy to play that game with, okay?
Well,
so I'm a boring guy. But look, let me ask you one more question. I think that you're into this legalizing marijuana deal, and I'll tell you why I think that. You thank George Soros at the end of the book. Why are you thanking George Soros, number one?
George Soros doesn't have any connection to the book. It's easy to say that I'm for the legalization of marijuana.
Well, why do you thank him if he doesn't have any connection?
Because he is someone that is involved. For example, you asked about legalization.
No, I want to know why you're thanking George Soros at the end of the book.
Because there is a concerted effort amongst a lot of people, conservatives as well as left-wing people, that want to say that the prohibition of marijuana is leading to things like street violence, street crime. Those are the type of things that you and I agree that we don't want to see.
So you like Soros' legalization deal?
I'm not exactly totally familiar with Soros' legalization deal. I have a different legalization deal.
All right. Well, we'll get you back sometime and talk about it. We appreciate you coming on and discussing it. Thanks very much.
I appreciate you having me.
All right, Mr. Cortez. When we come right back, an inside look at what some are calling Al-Qaeda High, a school in Virginia. Some say...